things you've been told.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be sewing this beautiful dress, and the first thing I did was to take my bodice block, and after I took my bodice block, I am going to be doing that circle, and then I'm going to be contouring. So to do that circle, whatever I have from my under bust to my apex is what I'm going to use to have this circle. So I actually have 3.5 left. That was what I used to make this circle, and I am contouring on the circle. So just to make sure that my bodice is firm and it fits my body firmly. So that was what I did. So you can basically contour to your armhole side, to your neckline, to your center front. It doesn't really matter. So these are examples of how I contour. So I'm going to go on my shoulder line and use 2.5 for my shoulder width, and I'm going to use 9 inches for my neck depth. So when I'm done, I'm just going to use my curved ruler and rule it straight. So another thing I want to be doing is to go on my under bust. I want to come down by 0.5 inches. So when I'm done, I'm just going to rule it. So it's actually totally optional. You can go under your bust and make this line that I'm going to be making there. This is just to ensure that mine come under my bust very well. So some people can actually ignore this. Okay, so and I'm going to come at the two sides under my bust. I'm going to take the 1/4 of an inch and roll it straight like that and up to my bust point. So when I'm done, I'm just going to go ahead and use my French curve to curve it like this. So if you don't come down by that 0.5, you might actually not get this shape I'm getting. You might get a little bit flatter than this shape, which is still fine. So I'm going to roll the other side like this as well. So this is it. I'm going to be cutting this out, and when I'm done cutting it, I'm just going to close my that down part, because I want it to be like one piece. I don't want it to be like two. So I'm going to write my center front so that I'll be able to know where to cut, where not to cut. So that was what I did. Just follow along as I'm doing this. You are going to get exactly what I did. So I saved that place a little bit. So I'm just going to trace it out and cut it out. So after that, I'll tape it and set it aside. So I'm going to work on my upper part. I want to determine where I'm going to be choosing for my contour line. So I choose my neck part. So I'm going to be using that neckline on without touching the one for the armhole. So if you feel that your armhole used to bulge, like it's not usually firm when you sew your clothes, you can actually do it under your armhole like that as well. So I'm going to close my neck like this, retrace it, and then cut any excesses. And when I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and close my bust dart at the side there. So my front piece is done. At that point, I'm going to go ahead and work on my back piece.
Beneath the bed before you go to sleep. Keep on, I shine. Will surely get burned if you reach out and touch. My mind is a battle, I'm trying to hide it. Getting these voices inside to stay quiet. Run to the place where all this began. Start again. I'll see the light until the dawn breaks. No, till it's all said and done, you won't know what it takes. Gotta make a wrong turn and turn around. Gotta focus to pick yourself
I'm going to take my back piece, close the dart, and then I'm going to go ahead and use 3 inches at my neck depth and then 2.5 inches as my shoulder width, and then I'm going to slant it and cut it out and then close my dart. That is it for my back. So I'm going to be working on my down part, which is my skirt part. So as you know that my skirt part is divided into 2, I have the circular side and then the straight part. So I'm going to be working on the straight part first. So I did full front and then full back, and my full back I didn't cut it, like it's just one piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to determine where I want my circular to be sewn on it. So I actually want it to come down a little, to be a bit modest. So I'm going to go ahead and measure, find it out at the side there, and then I'm going to go ahead and roll it.
They said, don't fall, don't forget all the things you've been taught, you've been told. Don't blink, don't run, don't turn left or turn right or look straight at the sun. My mind's going in circles, I'm trying to fight it. Getting these voices inside to stay quiet. Gone to the place where all this began. Just start again. Oh, you won't see the light until the dawn breaks.
So I'm just going to fold it like that and then set it aside and use that my front, still working on my front. I'm going to go ahead and mark where I want my slashing to be. So the first thing I'll first do is to close my dart. After I'm done closing my 2 darts, I'm going to go ahead and slash it. I use 1.5 inches for the slanting. So before that, I'll go ahead and mark the same thing I mark on the front on my back, and then I'll fold it inside as well. So you can as well cut it, like I said, it's just for me to save my pattern. So this is it, the 2 sides are matching. So that was what I did. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to do that my slash and spread. So So I'm going to place it on another pattern paper, and then I'm going to go ahead and tape it down using 1 inches because I don't want the fold to be too much. So when I'm done doing this, I'm just going to use it to cut my fabric. So I'm going to cut my front, my back, and then I'm going to cut my upper parts. So after I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead and cut the lining as well, and I'm going to go ahead and notch this side. So when I'm done doing all of this, I will go ahead and measure my back side. So you can see I close my dart too at the back side. So after I'm done cutting my front, I want to cut it in such a way that I can be able to sew it. So I put 0.3 inches at that side, and then I'll cut my back too. You can see I also close my dart at the back. So I went ahead and cut all my piece. So the front, I'm going to put interfacing on my two front side. The upper one and the down part, I'll put interfacing and then I'll cut it with lining. So when I'm done, I want to use this to cut my circular. So I'm just going to measure whatever I have there. I'm going to multiply it by 2, which is, that is all I'm going to be sewing on all my circular parts, but I'm going to double it because I want it to have excess that I can actually bring to the side. So I just cut it out. So the rest of the fabric is what I'm going to be using for my sleeve part. So I'll just set it aside for the sleeve. So after putting facing on my fabric, I'm going to go ahead and sew the dart. When I'm done sewing the dart, I'll sew it on that down part. So when I'm done sewing it, I'll go ahead and notch. I'll go ahead and notch it, iron it so as to open those seams, and then I will place my lining on it and sew. So I would have sewed my lining like this as well. So that is it. So I'll join the front and I'll also join the back. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to put my zipper on my back part when I'm done joining. So at this point, your raw edges can be serged or zigzag, any one you have. So I'm going to sew my zipper. I'm using invisible zipper on my down part. So when I'm done, I'm going to lay my back part to my front part and sew it at one side, like the longer part. And I also go ahead and join my shoulder, the two shoulders. So remember, one side is open like that, one side is open. So what we'll do is I will open it up like this, and then I'll take the circular that I cut. I'm going to notch the middle and then start sewing it from that side. So I'll start sewing it like that. When I get to the other side. Remember, I have 1 inch to sew there, like my side sewing allowance. So I will stop by that 1 inch and then sew it up like that. So when I'm done, I'm going to flip it like this and notch this down part, and then I'm going to fold this inside, fold the other part inside as well, and then using that 1 inch, I would use it to sew it, making sure everything is neatly finished. You can search, but I did zigzag my own here. So that was it. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to fix my sleeve. But at this point, you can go ahead and iron all your dress, like iron every part so that they lay flat and beautiful. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and do my sleeve. So the first thing I did was to fold my sleeve into 4. I just used a basic sleeve. I fold my sleeve into 4, and then I got that middle part that I used to bring in my curve when I was making this sleeve. I just went ahead to cut from those places, and I spread it a little bit and put what I want there. So if you want it a little bit exaggerated, you can go ahead and do that. I actually have a limited fabric left, so I'm just going to work with whatever I have left. So go ahead and curve it like that, and then use it to cut your fabric. So I actually sewed this dress, I think 2 days. I used 2 days in sewing this. I was just lazy. I'll have to like keep it and start again. So I also cut lining, so I'm going to use my lining to turn it.
Before you go to sleep, keep on, I shine. You'll surely get burned if you reach out and touch.